Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Cats Coverage Basketball Podcast. I'm Trace. Got Michael Epps. At Historical Memorial Coliseum. We got Tim Smith. Tim, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man, at home, but still checking in on the women's. They're up 45-26 over the Volunteers right now.
Is that right? Michael's there. Michael, so he's doing this on his phone, so he has to, for y'all watching, he has to keep muting himself. We're having some technical stuff. Michael, how you doing?
Good, man. Just I got a couple minutes here. It's halftime of the women's game right now, facing that Tennessee, that gaudy orange, huh? But
Yeah.
they're playing pretty well. Obviously, they lost on Sunday to LSU on senior day. That was kind of a bummer. But so I'm hanging out here for a little bit. I got to run back and anchor because I'm solo today. Jordan and Colby are both off. So I'm getting the end of this game and then hopefully get back to the station in time to anchor. So it's a busy night, but happy to take a few minutes on the pod, chat it up with the boys.
The grind don't stop. So we've got to talk about, just last night, Kentucky wins down in Norman, Oklahoma, 83-82. If I got that, yes, because it was 1 point win off the Otega Owe show, his homecoming. I think he had like maybe 2 points at halftime. But we've got to talk about that legendary run. So as I'm sure you've seen, he was the only player to score in the last 12 minutes and 50 seconds for Kentucky. Scored the last 18 points. I think he had 21 of 23. Just an absolute party for his homecoming appearance back to Oklahoma. They were booing him, calling him a traitor the whole time. Man, that shot. I mean, I don't know if y'all went back and watched the pictures. I mean, he's turning and he's like throwing it over his shoulder. How did that go in? I don't know, but that, Kentucky needed that win. I wish it wasn't that close, but it was a fun ride since it's going to be that close. I'm glad we were able to pull it off instead of having something down like at Texas. Got the return of Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler. Michael, we'll throw it to you real quick. What was last night for you? I know it was late, but how fun was that ending for that game?
Yeah, I think it's so dumb for fans to like call someone a traitor. Like when you're transferring in college basketball, it's like the most like everybody's roster is at least half transfers for Kentucky, like all transfers. It's just dumb it's just how college basketball is. You can't be calling guys traitors. Like your team has traitors on it, then it's just a dumb argument. But yeah, man, he was epic. We've seen him be like a good second half, like clutch time player in other games this season. Sometimes he's not, but we've seen it before. Like we know that he kind of has the little clutch gene in him, but he showed it in this one, man. And those fans were wishing that he was still wearing Sooner red because, he put on a show. He took over the game. It was his building. It was his night, and he took advantage of it. I was happy for him. And, for him, he hit 1-3 there in that run, but the rest, man, he was just going to cup. And it was pretty impressive, the moves that he was pulling off, like spinning, driving left, spin right, foul, and one. Like those are pretty – impressive plays that I think NBA scouts are going to look at, even though he can't shoot the ball. Still looking like a maybe late second round pick, but certainly this is one of those games the scouts are going to look at and see like, okay, this guy could actually ball.
Yeah. Career high 28 points. Tim, what's your analysis on the Otega Owe show?
Man, I mean, it felt like anything he put up was going to go in other than some of his jumpers, of course. But I mean, it was like prime LeBron James out there. Pull up 2012 Miami Heat LeBron James highlights and compare it to Otega Owe's performance. You'll see some similarities.
Yeah, it was really, really fun to see him get it going again, especially after his drop off at Alabama. I think he had 2 points, snapped his streak from double digits. Ironically, it's like me and Michael made the trip to Alabama, and that it was a loss. It just wasn't a fun atmosphere like that, or a fun outcome. And then like a lot of people didn't make that trip to Oklahoma, and they got the ones that did. All three of us didn't make that trip, so I'm sure most of y'all had to deal with the game didn't come on till there were 6 minutes and 44 seconds left on the national television on the SEC network, and the game was supposed to start at 9:00. It was 9:44, 44 minutes late when it finally came on. Just absolutely, they screwed that one up. And, I guess they didn't expect the last few minutes of the Vandy and Texas A&M the game to go that way. But what an absolute crap show for that. And I know fans that didn't make it, majority of the fan base who didn't make that trip had to be mad about it. I know I was like, man, you're going to miss over a quarter of the game. It just was kind of rough to deal with. But
yeah, I guess it happened for the Bama game too, right?
But not as much, like 8 minutes or something. It's still a lot.
Yeah, that's great. What was the game on before it? Because I missed that. I joined the game late.
You talking about?
Was it Auburn? It wasn't Auburn Ole Miss.
Are you talking about when we was at Bama, the game before that?
No, the game before last night.
Vandy and Texas A&M.
I didn't know it was that long. That's crazy long.
Yeah, the last 3 minutes. I think they said the last minute something of the game went 28 minutes in real time, and then I think the last 3 minutes of the game, there was 3 minutes left of that game at 9:00. So it took 44 real time minutes to go 3 minutes of a basketball game because they just kept reviewing. They hit some shots at the end, fouling. It was pretty miserable. I watched every single play of that. I was just like, come on, nobody cares about this game. There's so many empty seats in that arena. I'm like, nobody cares about this. Get this off the screen. And people were like that on social media as well.
See, I was wondering about that because I was a little confused on it. I watched on the ESPN app, so like I can individually select the games and whatnot. So I didn't know there was a delay for cable. But yeah, I mean, I was online. I was seeing some people talk about like how late it started. I didn't know it was that late, but you didn't miss too much there.
Yeah, it's that's annoying for sure. That's a good win for Vandy though. I mean, A&M's kind of struggling here. I think they lost 3 straight, but I do got to run here in a little bit, so I do want to talk a little bit more about this one, guys. I feel like some fans are like questioning Pope bringing Lamont and Jackson back, which I don't think is the right move. Like they shouldn't be questioning that at all. Like, oh, maybe wait, bring him back like a week later. Like, no, if the training staff says they're ready and the players say they're ready, then it's Pope's duty to be like, all right, training staff says you're ready. You say you're ready, then you're ready. Go out there and play. And so I don't like blame him for rushing him back. I mean, it sucks that if Jackson actually re-aggravated that wrist, and if he has to miss more time, that'll be a big bummer. Lamont seems like he's fine. Just fouled out. It was just a little slow, right? I mean, it's not surprising. His first game back, he's a little slow and is reaching a little, falling behind and get some fouls, but he'll be fine Saturday. I expect him to have a good game, but if you're going to miss Jackson, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of crazy how, you just ended up in the same situation that you've been in the last few weeks when Jackson doesn't play the whole second half, Lamont fouls out, and it's like, dang, all right, Travis comes back in the game. You just got to survive, and it really looked like they might have sold that game, but Ortega saved them. So that was pretty impressive, and I feel like Lamont won't have too much rust. I feel like he'll get back into shape pretty quick, and I expect him to have a pretty good game Saturday.
Yeah, Jack Givens asked him after the game. He, how you feeling, and who knows how true this is, but he says I felt fine. I didn't feel any pain at all. I mean, that's what he said. Maybe he's trying to keep fans excited and stuff. But I mean, he finished with 7 points. Or Jackson Robinson had 7 points. Lamont Butler had 7 as well. So I mean, 14 points from those guys. You win by 1. I mean, I don't know if you win without them. Not that they were the big difference makers, but like somebody else would have had to come up with those 14 points. I'm not sure who we're picking for those. So I think it was great to have them. I think it does suck that Jackson Robinson kind of aggravated his wrist, but like he could get hurt on any single play. So you don't know that's going to happen. You've got to take that chance if they're good to go. I'm glad they took that chance. But I think now after said and done, 2020 hindsight, what's happened, I think we're probably not going to see Jackson Robinson back till Nashville SEC tournament. If that, I don't know if it's going to go past that, but like I don't see him coming back the regular season. Lamont Butler seems to be back the rest of the way. Let's hope nothing happens. But I'm glad we got one of those guys back. And if you made me pick, I'm going with Lamont Butler. He's going to run that offense.
Yeah, and I feel like they're in okay shape for Saturday, even without Jackson. I feel like this game against Auburn is still like they have a chance. I feel like they're kind of due for a big explosion, kind of a near 100-point showing, at least 90. They played well in Rupp. They score in Rupp. Like I feel like they can, if not get 100. Like I don't think they're going to get 100 on Auburn's defense, but I feel like they're going to be able to score. And so I don't know if Auburn's built for a track meet like that. They could score. Obviously, they put up 100 last night, but I don't know. I like to catch chances. I feel like if Lamont kind of pulls out a special, kind of like how he was playing against Tennessee before he got hurt, or that Louisville game, if he does something special, if Ansley kind of wakes up because he's been kind of quiet, he'll have to with Jackson out. Ortega will give you what he'll give you, and maybe you get a crazy couple of Trent Noah threes or Travis Perry threes to light up Rupp. I feel like the Cats have a chance. I think it's going to be a good game. of course, it could just be a 20-point Auburn win, but I just don't see that. I feel like the Cats are due for like a good home offensive game.
Yeah, and there's just different team at home. You're going to get so much more production from the other guys. I mean, Kobe Brea at home is a different beast from Kobe Brea away from home. I feel like we get more production from the rest of the bench at home. I don't know. Those guys, just confidence goes up a lot more. They get more comfortable, I would say. And again, it's number one Auburn. If you're going to lose to a team on paper, that's the best loss that you can have. So it's like almost like a no lose situation. Like, so you go in that, and that kind of, takes off a lot of stress. It's like, if we lose, we're supposed to lose to this team. I know it sucks that it'd be on your home court, but like, it's the number one team in the country. They've lost like 2 or 3 games in total the whole year. They are one of the, if they're not the best team, they're one of them. I know Duke can get in that argument as well, and we've already got them, but there's a no lose situation in terms of the score against Auburn on Saturday. And, I'm glad this game's at home. Maybe you can get, Rupp's going to pack in there. You can use that to your advantage. Some guys are going to step up and play out of their minds. And I mean, I think because it's in Lexington, I don't see a world where we lose more than 12. I think it's anything less than that with a chance to win. At Auburn, I think things are a little different. I know we won there last year with last year's team, but like, the home environment's a major deal. It plays a lot into this, and the momentum and all that, the guys' confidence. I'm not that stressed out about Auburn because, again, it's a no-lose situation.
And, I mean, this team really seems to feed off like that. They have not proved that they can't compete against these top-ranked teams. I mean, they're I can't remember exactly, but they were like 5-0 at one point against teams that were in the top 10 or 15, whatever it is. So they really, really feed off that energy. It seems like they always play well in Rupp, as we've seen. Really, like that Ole Miss game was the one game where I felt like they didn't have anything going, but they still ended up coming back some, just lost by 10 points. So made it not seem as bad as it was. But yeah, I mean, they got to get going. And I feel pretty confident that we'll see a good showing this Saturday.
Yeah, good point with Kobe, Trace. I mean, yeah, shots fall at home, right? Role players always play better at home. But Kobe, he's kind of due. He's kind of like a 1 in every 5 games kind of. So I think one of them are gonna show up. I think they're gonna have a chance. I've still been saying it. I think this team's still Sweet 16. It's right there for them if they're healthy. Even if not, I feel like they can put 2 wins together. But yeah, I don't know. Amari, has been amazing. He wasn't great, and last night got into foul trouble, but Garrison stepped up for him. All the boys are playing pretty well. So, as I said, excited about Saturday. But, all right, I got to run. Second half starting. So,
thank you hopping on here. Michael's headed back to the women's basketball second half game against Tennessee. Michael, let's get on those Cats. Thanks for hopping on.
That gaudy orange. We'll see how they do. All right, see you, boys.
See you,
Michael.
All right, we are back after that quick break. Michael, thank you for hopping on. Michael is at the women's basketball game right now. Kentucky women's playing Tennessee. So for the ones that are watching this, it is Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So it might be a little bit outdated once you watch this, but we're going to try to have it up as quickly as possible. Tim, I wanted to go over the stat sheet from that win at Oklahoma. Again, like I was telling Michael when he was on here a minute ago, I hate that it doesn't look that good on paper when you win by 1 against a team that's not as good as Oklahoma. Now I know it's the SEC. I know the bad of the SEC can still beat anybody. South Carolina, they beat. I'm not sure who they beat recently. Did they beat Florida?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Or no, I think I'm not sure. South Carolina beat somebody really good at SEC. Then Arkansas beat us. The bad of the SEC is not as bad as as it sounds. So having a close game at Oklahoma doesn't really hurt my confidence with this team, especially with having guys limited. But I really wanted to kind of break out down the stat sheet looking at what we had. So let's start with the guy, Otega Owe. He had a career high 28. So listen, as an Oklahoma Sooner, his 2 years there, he never scored more than 20. He scored 23 times. He had 22 points with like 3 minutes to go on that home floor. Really, really cool to see. So, and yeah, Michael had made up a good point there. Like they were calling him traitor. Like everybody's a traitor in this now day and age of college basketball. Like you're not going to stay somewhere that long here unless you're the one few of like Zakai Ziegler or whatever at Tennessee. But like Hunter Dickinson at Kansas, he was with Michigan, and all these players go around. Like I'm glad Michael brought it up. I was actually thinking about this during the game last night when they were doing that. I'm like, that mindset of like, oh, come to the school and stay 3 or 4 years and be loyal to your team. Like, that's just an outdated take. Like, I understand there's an era of that, and it's not that they were wrong. At one point in time, a lot of people wanted that, and that's how it was. But, like, That's not how college basketball is anymore. And if you think that it is, you're going to set yourself up for failure. It's not. You're gonna be let down when these people transfer. And so, anyway, sorry, a little rant there, but
no, I mean, I'll add that Kentucky fans are also very bad about that. So it's just a lot of fans. I mean, I feel like they want to see a good player for their team stay and succeed and everything, and they transfer away. So I don't know. I was just adding that Kentucky fans are just as guilty as any other fans.
Oh yeah, remember when we were sitting there up in New York and they were booing Aaron Bradshaw?
Yeah,
I didn't like that. I mean, I guess
like even Adu. I mean, Adu, he wanted to stay at Kentucky so bad. But of course, he's going to follow Cal with the ties to his father and everything. But he was the one I least expected to get booed. Yeah, but he still got it.
They tore DJ Wagner alive. I told y'all. I know you were there too. But when the first two came out was Adu and Z, and they got a solid boo. But DJ Wagner came out about 3 minutes later. They just ripped into him, and I didn't really know why, but they let him have it. Mm-hmm. And then all throughout the game when he was dribbling and stuff. But Tim, I was wanting to kind of look at the stat sheet from last night. So let's see. The leaders were Otega Oweh 28, Brandon Garrison. I do want to talk about him in just a second. 12 points from Brandon Garrison. He had probably arguably one of the best halves he's ever had with Kentucky. Second half was phenomenal, especially on defense. Then they got 9 points from Kobe Brea. Then they got 7 points from three different guys, Andrew Carr, Lamont Butler, and Jackson Robinson. So Butler, Robinson, and Carr all battling injuries, coming back from injuries, things like that, not at 100%, any of them. They combined for only 21 of Kentucky's 83. That's less than a third from probably your three best players. Otega Oweh is obviously in that mix as well. I would call him the best, but he had a 28. Kind of looking over the stat sheet, is there anything major that stood out to you? I know Brandon Garrison's kind of highlights this stuff, but
I mean, I was going to say kind of the opposite. I feel like the stat sheet doesn't show, but Andrew Carr seemed to start off the game especially. Like he's come a long way. I feel like the past few games just with his injury.
I missed that. That didn't click with me because I didn't get to see that point. So he was started off real hot. Andrew Carr did.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty consistent throughout the game, and like in the first half especially. But the way he was moving around, just reacting, he wasn't getting beat as much. I mean I'd say about 80% back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean he's getting there for sure. I love that Pope starts these guys too, especially there's one argument to be made which has a lot of validity to it, like that it doesn't really matter if you come off the bench or whatever. But then there's also an argument to be made where like some players are just more comfortable that way. I would probably argue Kobe Brea is more comfortable coming off the bench and, like being that 6-man role. He gets to come and see how stuff plays out and watch it and analyze it and then go right in and attack. But then you got to think of, if we would have started off down 10-2 and you don't start Butler or Robinson and you check them in right then and say, hey, you've got to overcome this deficit from the start. It's like, you got to work a little bit harder to do that rather than just starting off 0-0 and managing it and coasting it. So I like that he's starting them. Everybody as a group's collective more comfortable that way.
I mean, I agree with that too. And kind of, I know a lot of people are kind of frustrated with his substitutions going on. And I can see where at times, like there's been a few times where Amari's kind of been hot and then he gets subbed out and everything. But, what was I going to say about that?
You're talking about what about Amari's that the number 5 for Oklahoma nearly took out Amari Williams. I mean, thank God he came back, but like we almost lost another guy 4 minutes. I think it was right at 4 minutes into the game.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, like whenever he went down, there's been so many Achilles injuries recently that like he was kind of holding up high above his ankle. And so my first thought was immediate Achilles. I was just thinking like that'd just be our curse. That's still going on.
Dude, like I don't know what you do as an official in this situation. Like I know they try to monitor it and stuff, but like flopping is a part of the game, whether it should or shouldn't be. It's a part of the game. It's part of, but like I think when I understand the idea of it. You're trying to get fouls, you're trying to milk the game. It's strategically a way to play the game, but like I feel like when you hurt somebody, like, and he didn't mean to, but like when that stuff happens, that's like crossing the line. Like you're trying to gain a foul and the other side of it, this guy gets injured. I mean, thankfully Amari Williams came back, but like when he went down, man, and I saw it online because I didn't get to see it in real time. I mean, I was livid. I saw, especially when I saw the play of that guy flopping, like wasn't even remotely close. He got hit once and then he just flipped back and he did this little antics where his feet goes up and Amari Williams just went down. And I was like, are you serious, bro? It's almost March. I was really mad. I just don't know what you do as an official. Like there's no punishment for that at the moment, you know, when it crosses that line of injuring someone. But man, I'm so grateful he came back. Wasn't out the rest of the night and we're all still talking about it type of thing.
I know, man. And I mean, he didn't have the greatest of nights. So I don't know, that very well could have been something bothering him that we may not have seen, but he could be still recovering from. But just remember what I was going to say about him earlier. I was talking about how like there's been times where he's hot and it gets subbed out. I feel like Pope almost sort of runs like a miniature platoon system because most of his substitutions, like especially in the first half, is usually like always 3 to 4 players at a time. So, I mean, I feel like except for, you know, people who are going off, having a good game, a lot of them are subbed out and play a lot at the same time that the starters do.
Yeah. Tim, I went back and rewatched that game today, especially the first half that I missed in real time. And I found a different perspective of it when it wasn't, you know, with keeping up on social media during the game and putting out stuff like you miss a play here or there. At least I do. Like I miss a couple things and I don't get to really retain every single thing that comes back. But when I rewatch them sometimes, you know, I can sit there and rewind it and really focus on all the other stuff that helps that defense, off the ball players, all that stuff that's going on. And man, I've got to really say, after rewatching that, I watched the first 14 minutes. I didn't make it onto TV in real time. And just, I was blown away of how many plays. I bet you I can go back and record 9 of them in those 16 minutes of like, they did not, by Kentucky, that did not look like Division I basketball plays. Just like Amari Williams, when you said Amari Williams, it made me think of this. Like there was a play where a guy was driving in and I think Travis Perry got beat. So he's running behind him to the basket. The guy had a wide open lane. Instead of Amari Williams, he was standing there kind of hanging on to his guy over here. Instead of just stepping over, he sat there and watched the guy going for the layup and didn't even help over. Like it doesn't take a whole lot of like basketball knowledge to know that. Like the guy just got beat. My guy Travis Perry just got beat and he's running to the basket at me. I just take literally one step over and try to block it. Instead, he was so worried about his guy. It's like, I don't know, cutting off your nose to spite your face is what the saying kind of goes. But like, that happened. There was a play where the guy on Oklahoma, it's Ortega's friend that he was real close with. I'm not, last name is Moore. He got the ball right in front of half court on a fast break, and nobody got in front of him from half court to the layup all the way over. I mean, everybody was. I went back and watched it. They're all finding their guy, but like you got to be aware where the ball is at all time. That guy got all the way to pretty much the free throw line until the Ainsley Allmenor and those guys realized they got beat. Just plays like that. People getting beat. There was a play where Travis Perry gave it to Brandon Garrison. He had the ball over at the 3-point line and was just dribbling. And Brandon Garrison, he's dribbling, and it hits his foot and goes out of bounds. And he turns at him and Travis Perry kind of going at it. And, like, Brandon Garrison was kind of letting Travis Perry have it, saying, you should have done this. But, like, Brandon Garrison sat there and dribbled it off of his foot. Like, dribbled, hit the foot and took off. Nobody was even around him. Just so many plays like that. And I really gained that perspective of, like, wow. Like, listen, I love this team. I'm not down on them at all. Nothing like that. But, like, we have a lot of flaws. We really do. And I don't know, a lot of it gets, a lot of them from last night will get hidden forever from the way it's all about Ortega and that win. But like, we have a lot of flaws that we've just hidden all year long because we can put up points and we've got these big wins. But like, we are far from a perfect team. And I know no one's ever said that, but like, we've got a lot of issues. And I hate that it's, it's end of February going into March. But like, I think, at this point of the year, I guess we gotta throw those away and deal with them because it's going to be hard to kind of address those this far in. But like, man, they've let a lot of stuff go this year that I wish they would have fixed it. And, that's going to give you 10 to 15 more points a game. It's going to stop the other team from scoring 8 to 10 more. Like, it would make a difference, but I don't know, man. They still got the win. That's what matters.
Yeah. I mean, it's just nobody had it going there in that first half. And Jackson, I mean, he started off decent. I think he missed his first 3 or 4 shots, but Jackson keeps shooting it, you'll make it eventually. And I think he got up to 7 points within the first few minutes, and then it seemed to have re-aggravated that wrist and gone out. And it seemed like there in that first half, Ortega, I mean, he only had 2 points at halftime. It seemed like he was, still in that slump that he had, that he was in at Alabama. But then something clicked in him there at halftime, and thankfully sparked this team. Garrison obviously fueled off that a little bit. He was going. Wow. So, good. Whatever he did there in the locker room was good.
Well, when I went back and rewatched it, there was one play. I think this is when it clicked for him. It was I think it was the start of that 18 last points that he had for Kentucky. He went in and to the free throw line and did a spin move, went around the guy and went up to the next man, and then got fouled and just threw it back and hit the backboard. And then, he flexed, got the and one, went over to the bench. I think that was one of the first buckets he had on the last 18, went on that run. And you could tell it was a hype moment. I think that really is what sparked it for him. And he got the next bucket, and then I think he hit a shot, and then it's like, heat check, and he just kept rolling and rolling. But on a kind of a personal level of I've told you all off the camera this year and stuff that Otega always been my favorite player on this team. He's really personable, and all of our stuff that we get to do. He's just such a genuine kid, and all of them are. And there's not a bad one on this team, but I selfishly have said I was so happy to see that Otega Oweh was doing that last night. He couldn't be more nicer, and gratefully in the opportunities that we get to really see that kind of out of the spotlight type of, when we're interviewing behind the scenes and stuff, we get to kind of see that personality side of these players. And man, I was just really happy to see him. I kind of felt proud a little bit. Not that I did anything, but I was like, let's go, Otega. Good for you, man. Good for you. And the idea of him coming back next year, I couldn't be more happy about that, man. And our leading scorer, in my opinion, our best player coming back for another year. It's not like he hasn't, he was forced to come back because he wasn't good enough to go pro or anything like that. It's just another year to improve your draft stock. I know we got a lot to go, but I'm already obsessing over another second year of Otega Oweh, but we'll see how that goes, as time goes on. We got the postseason to go to first.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, he might. That might have just been a 1-game fluke, where he against Alabama, and now he's back. He's gonna continue on this run, and come in March Madness, all the cameras are on him. Who knows? He might prove himself to be a first-round pick. But I mean, it like you're saying, he's a very nice guy, and it was great to see that. I think he had most of his primary family there. I know his brother was there. I want to say his mother was there.
Yeah.
I can't remember who all was there. I saw a picture of it, but yeah, he had a good 5 to 6 family members there too. So
one thing I said this on Twitter as well. One thing that I hope people don't forget in this scenario, yes, give Otega all of his credit. We lose that game without him, but I hope people don't forget about that very last play after the shot when we went down there on defense. And Brandon Garrison, I know I went back and watched the replay. Otega Oweh did get his fingers on the back of the ball, but the majority of the block went to Brandon Garrison. I'm not sure if I never checked the stat sheet to see who they gave it to, but my point is being, I hope people give Brandon Garrison and, everybody involved their credit for that last play. I feel like that block's going to get forgotten in history because, the shot, it feels like the shot was the last play. But that block, let's see. I mean, who
they gave it to Garrison?
They did give it to Garrison. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Well, see, Otega's got one block. I just don't know when that came. That came earlier. Yeah, Otega's came earlier because he sent somebody's block, somebody's ball to the crowd. So yeah, they gave it to Garrison, and I just hope people don't forget about that. He had an absolutely phenomenal game, and then he brought his little boy up there to the press conference, and people were making memes of showing the other teams on that as a baby. Is so funny. Brandon Garrison, and then on Brandon Garrison as well. Tim, what about that? When they were walking out off the court and they got I think it was a beer can thrown at him. What are we doing?
Garrison's the one dude you don't want to do that to on this team. I feel like, oh man, yeah. I'm glad that I'm glad that he had people around him to actually notice, because you can see that I don't know if he was going for what was thrown or going up in the stands, but you don't want another Malice in the Palace thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's easy for me to say because I didn't have something thrown at me and I was in that environment, but Brandon Garrison acted like he's gonna go up there and rip somebody's head off, and he's had a couple of moments where there was some video footage that leaked out from local reporters for Oklahoma of them and their arguments. I'm like, there is a little bit of, this is not a knock on him, but there is a little bit of hothead immaturity with him of I mean, dude, if you would have went up there, the beer can went past you and you would have went up there and done something, or at the end you almost cost us a game from your emotions after that block. He went right up to that guy and got in his face. If that was any other player on any other team, we would hate that guy. Social media would tear him up, but it's our guy. So I was like, Brandon, just cool it out a little bit, man. Like it's easy for me to say when I'm not there in that environment, but
man, well, I don't know how like physical Kerr Kriisa is, but we know how verbal he is. So if he was healthy, man, and like he was getting the crowd going, and then something was thrown at him at the end of the game, I wonder how that would have turned out.
Yeah, he'd been kind of on a one leg hopping up there.
yeah, if he was healthy,
Yeah, but yeah, man, looking at I've said this for weeks now. I'm super, super excited about this SEC tournament. I think at this point, man, hold out Jackson Robinson. I mean, I don't know the behind the stories of how aggravated it is, but like, you lose to Auburn, you're supposed to. At Missouri is going to be a tough one. At full strength, yeah, I think we could beat them, but not at full strength. It's going to be a tough one. LSU, you should win. You should. You're supposed to, even without that guy. But like, I just think, I would hate for us to be in the scenario where he's hurt going into the SEC tournament because you wanted to win these games. I mean, listen, right now we're playing on Thursday at 1:00. Anything below that, worse than that, would just put us on Wednesday. I mean, we don't have much room for things to get worse in terms of SEC tournament. So it's going to take a lot to gain anything better than that for the SEC tournament if he plays these last few games. So like, if I was Mark Pope and what I would do is hold Jackson Robinson out. Let's try to have you back for the first game of SEC tournament. Assuming that he's good to go. Be careful with Lamont Butler, man. Wrap him up in bubble wrap. I would probably sit him out of LSU. That's one more game that we don't need you, man. I know he'd want to play, but like bring him back for Auburn if he's as good as he says he is. I think at Missouri you need him to keep things under control where it might get bad. We saw how it fell apart at the end of Texas down there, but I would say sit him out of LSU. But that's just me. I don't know how he's actually feeling.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to say it was in the first half that he took a little bit of a scary fall. I can't remember. He got hit on a layup. I can't remember if it was and-one or not, but he landed right on his right shoulder.
Yeah,
he hopped right back up. But yeah, there was a moment where I'm just like, I felt my heart sink to my stomach, man.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, oh, and I think he kind of knew, like, I'm not in his head, but I think he kind of knew, like, oh, I got to get up and show these people I'm okay. That hurt that hurt bad. But I got to get up real quick. I'm good, guys. I'm good. Don't take me out. But yeah. This Saturday, I think I didn't get to ask Michael, but I think all three of us are going to be in the building for Auburn Tigers coming in. Bruce Pearl, I wanted him to be Kentucky's coach. Again, I'm glad it's Mark Pope, but like that's who I was picking before they picked Mark Pope. I'm real high on Bruce Pearl. Janai Broome, he played at Morehead State. A Kentucky guy, even though he's not from Kentucky, but he played here. And then Auburn, man, number one team, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up with Bama. Probably top 5 scoring team. Auburn is just, I know Bruce Pearl has that thing over his head about he can't do a whole lot in March. But I think this team's different. I think they've got an Elite 8 locked up. If you could beat this team, I know Kentucky's got 6 or 7. I forget now how many top 15 wins. It ain't like they can't do it, but like if you could beat Auburn, if you're going to do it somewhere, you're going to do it at home. You got Butler back. I'm excited, man. I think it's one of those games where you talk yourself right into it minutes before. But what's your early? It's Thursday night. What's your kind of early feelings of the Auburn game? You think you feeling something different than me, or how do you feel?
I'm not optimistic or really negative on it either. I'm confident that they'll perform well, just because there hasn't really been that blown out loss yet, especially to like a top 10 team. So. I mean, just with the trends of this team, I feel like I'm pretty confident that it'll at least be somewhat close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really feeling a win or loss right now. I don't know where I'm swinging on that.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of stuff's got to go right for us, and you've got to have that, what we were talking about earlier, those players step up at home. I mean, you need Ansley Almanor to hit those 2 threes that are unaccounted for. You need Kobe Bray to find his 12 plus. You need Lamont Butler to keep things under control and not kind of avoid all the easy turnovers. That's the minimal stuff that you just do on accident that like cost you points that were just like first day mistakes. I don't know, man. I got a feeling. I just got, you would love it more if Jackson Robinson's there, but this team can still win without him. I think if the crowd's just right, if you don't let Auburn get hot, like even if they're just halfway hot, like they don't have to, as long as they're not on fire, it wouldn't shock me if Kentucky like kept it close. It would be crazy for me. I'd be a straight homer if I said we're going to win that game right now without Robinson. But like, I don't have a feeling of Auburn coming in there and beating you by 12 plus. I just don't. I don't know
how I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So after Auburn, we've got LSU we got LSU, we've got at Missouri, and then
that's it.
Yeah, because
Auburn, LSU, and Missouri.
I think if you're making me pick now, just a safe bet, if we've put money on it, lose against Auburn, beat LSU, win at Missouri.
Missouri's
as long as you have one of Butler and Robinson. If you don't have them both, then never mind. But I'm confident if we roll in there with just Butler.
Yeah, I know we're still quite the ways away from that game, but that I forget their stadium name, but it's a loud place. It's a hard place to play, so it'd be interesting. I hope it'd be a nice win, that's for sure, because they're a streaky team.
So that would put us right now. We're 19-9 overall. That would put us at 21-10 if you go 2-1 in these games. 21-10 if you go 1-2, which is the more likely case. We're going to be 20-11. That's a little bit worse than what I thought the first year of Mark Pope would have been. Not a lot. I thought we'd have 7-8 losses for sure. If you finish at right now, you got 9. If you finish at the max 12 losses, it's a little bit less. But like, there's a major caveat with that. They've got those major wins. We've just got some dumb losses, man. At least we made that whole trip to New York, and that was just like, what happened? Like,
that's true. Yeah, I was saying this team. Yeah, I forgot about Ole Miss. I'd consider that. That wasn't a blowout necessarily, I don't think, but it was.
No, the Ohio State. That was the one. Ohio State.
Oh yeah, Ohio State. I'm trying to remember that score. Oh Ohio State, it was a blowout, 85-65. Yeah, gosh, man,
dude, I won't forget that game because Kentucky made 7 shots in the first half and 8 shots in the second half. Like,
it was awful.
Literally just couldn't make a shot.
Yeah.
And then the Clemson loss kind of felt bad. That was just early in the year. I think the Georgia was a bad loss. I know that was when we were starting to realize, wow, the SEC is better than people think. So there's a little with that. The Texas loss was bad, but you're hurt. And, they factored that into the year. You were hurt without your people, your two of your best players.
The Arkansas loss was bad at the time, but they've proven they've kind of built a pretty decent team here in the late season.
Yeah, and making an excuse for Kentucky on that side of the game is, they play a style that's hard for us, physicality, and then like you have the whole storyline where it's kind of like you think of a rivalry game where like two teams' records do not matter coming to this game. It's going to be one heck of a night. So if you're making any type of excuse for the Kentucky side of that game, what were our other losses? We lost at Vanderbilt. That was not a good loss.
Yeah,
not at all. We've lost to Bama twice. That's a good loss.
I mean they were good games as well. The last one not as much towards the final minutes, but that first one.
But I don't know, man. I'm excited.
That's really it as far as the losses go.
Yeah, got some big wins. That's what's cushioning them up to like the 3 or 4 seed range in the NCAA tournament. Sorry, I can't talk. My mouth's dry. But that's it, man. That's about all I got. Michael had to hop off here tonight, which sucks, like having him on here. But he nonstop. He was telling us about his day, so he's at the Kentucky women's basketball game. But Tim, that's about all I got. Otega Oweh, that was fun, man. I enjoyed every second of that, and I won't forget that game. But before we hop out of here, where would you put the Oklahoma game? Like, in 3 years from now, when you're looking back on the season, where would you? Like, are we gonna remember that one real clear as day? You think, or is that recency bias? Or
I'd say it's some recency bias, because it was a crazy performance. But if we lose out the rest of our games, not many people are gonna remember that. So in a positive way. So I don't know. Well, ask me at the end of the season. We'll see.
Yeah. I think the Duke one's gonna be my biggest one because I just remember how I felt that night. Wow, like it kind of just put your foot down of like, okay, we can win with Mark Pope. It just kind of solidified things early on and start that fun run of the Mark Pope era. But anyways, But Tim, that's about all I got, man. I'm ready to take on Auburn and see how things go on Saturday.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be loud. I can't wait. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess everybody watching this, thank you for watching. Please just like, it's free to do, like, comment, share. Just please share this places and follow us. You know, we're doing this for free, you know, and we put a lot of time into this. So just if you share it, that helps us get more people. And while you're here, please just follow us. Shout out to Cast Coverage. Shout out to Tim Smith. Shout out to